Welcome to your Optimal Personal Economy podcast with Justin Bennett. Your personal economy is your ability to create, protect, preserve, and utilize your wealth, your financial world. Justin will share strategies and stories to help you optimize your personal economy. Now, on to the show with Justin Bennett and co-host Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another podcast with Justin Bennett. Today we are going to talk about how your personal economy is a lot like chicken soup. Now, Justin, as we were talking about this, you made me laugh a couple of times with some of your analogies, but let's start at the beginning. Where did this idea come up from? I mean, why is it like chicken soup?
Hey, Matt, let's just be clear. It's chicken noodle soup.
Oh. All right, that's even better. Chicken noodle soup. All right, there's a difference there. All right.
There is a difference. One doesn't have noodles and one does. So we want to talk about the one that does.
All right.
So, this actually just kind of came to me over the last couple of weeks when interfacing with my clients and talking to them about their planning and, their personal economy and how we help clients and help them with their planning, both currently as well as over the long term. And it's so often the case that when it comes to money decisions and financial decisions, people try to, isolate a singular decision as if it's the only decision that they're making, and there's nothing else that exists in their personal economy except that one decision. And they try to make an assessment as to whether or not that decision is good or bad. And, in doing so, they come up way short. They come up really, really, in a tough position, because when they start to introduce and realize that there's many, many other moving parts to their financial world, and therefore the one singular decision that they're looking at is not the only decision, and therefore it can't be looked at in a vacuum. And then they start to understand how, one decision affects the other and affects the others and affects and so forth. So they start to be like, oh, wow, yeah. So I'm like, I was with a client and we were just having this conversation, and I was like, and it just came to me. I'm like, your personal economy is a lot like chicken noodle soup. They were like, what? And I just said, when you're an adult, not a kid, because kids sometimes, are a violation to the rule. But when you're an adult and you're served good chicken noodle soup, you're oftentimes not sitting there with a strainer, and backing out the carrots to try to see if the carrots are good and if they were fresh and organic and grown in a local farm. And when you're done with that, then you kind of go over and you kind of pick out the noodles, and you make a determination: are the noodles too soggy? Are they too hard? Are they okay? Then you go to the chicken. People don't do that, right? I mean, chicken noodle soup, you got it. You got the carrots, you got the celery, you got the chicken, you got the noodles, you got the spices, you got the salt and pepper, you got the broth. I mean, think about it. You've got so much in chicken noodle soup, and you're not going through and kind of picking things out and trying to make an assessment as to whether or not each individual ingredient is fresh and good and quality, but rather you're just eating the whole soup. And when you put the spoon into the soup and, you blow on the spoon, because the soup has to be hot, it can't be cold, and you don't want it to be too cold or too hot. So you want it to be, just right. So you're blowing on it, you bring it up to your mouth, and once you taste it and it tastes good, like, you eat the whole thing, because you realize that you need to have fresh ingredients. All of these moving parts have to be working together. They need to be, cooked right. They need to have the right proportion. They need to be all fresh. They can't have, a fresh piece of celery and chicken that's 2 months old. I mean, that's just going to create a bad outcome. So you're not going to, start going through your soup and trying to pick out each ingredient to see if it's good. So, planning is a lot like, like chicken noodle soup. You have all these financial decisions, all these money decisions that you're not only making today, but you make on an ongoing basis. So the understanding of how all of these decisions work together is, number one, incredibly difficult for an average consumer who's busy with their family and in their profession. So that's, very, very difficult for the average consumer to sift through, who spends time with their family and spends time in their profession as well as their outside hobbies. But then they also can't go at it where, every time they make a financial decision, they try to make an assessment if that one, money decision is good as it stands alone, because there's so many other moving parts to their life. People have wills and powers of attorney and beneficiary designations and umbrella policies and disability insurance and life insurance and, online aggregation portals. And they have, systematic ways that they're saving new money. They have savings accounts, checking accounts, money market accounts, credit unions. People have investment accounts. They have 529 plans. They have retirement accounts. They have real estate. They have mortgages. I mean, if you think about it and you hit the pause button and you're like, wow, we have a lot of stuff. It's all all the stuff is made up of the soup. It's the ingredients in the soup. It's your personal economy. Your personal economy is all of that. It's not just any one area. And so an understanding of how all of it works together, how to create, a comprehensive strategy, a comprehensive plan over a long-term period is very, very important for the people that we serve. And, whether we tie it back to chicken noodle soup or some other, metaphor or analogy, I think people need to understand that, their personal economy is most effective and most efficient when they're making these coordinated decisions versus isolated decisions.
And that's really what sense, yeah, it does. And you're the chef that brings all of those things together, right? You're the one who's looking at all of the different ingredients and all of the different components and making it so that when they have the output at the end, that delicious chicken soup, that you're the person who with them makes the decisions on what needs to go into the pool and what doesn't. Is that fair?
That's a fair point. Yep. And you mentioned output, right? To measure the output. Like, the output or the measure of the output can be done at various points over a 60, 70, or 80-year period of time, right? It could be measured at halfway through your working years. It could be measured at the point at which you're looking to shift from your working life to your retirement life. It could be looked at, a quarter of the way through your retirement phase. It could be looked at when you exit this planet and what that means to the people that are most important to you. So the output could be measured at many, many different points in time when you understand and look at comprehensive long-term planning.
And that's super important to make sure that you're checking in with all of those different outputs at different points, which is one of the reasons why your clients meet with you regularly. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. They want to meet with us and we want to meet with them because, it's our responsibility, our professional responsibility back to the clients to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to them and their planning and the conversations that we have over periods of time. Because if we don't do that, then we're not doing our job well. So we have to hold ourselves accountable. And it's very, very important that, people recognize and understand that we're continuously serving them in a way in which, their planning is going to be constantly looked at and reevaluated, and outputs are going to be measured. And, it's not just the carrots and the celery that are going to be looked at, but it's the whole pot of soup and how it all tastes together. Because it needs to taste good at all times.
I absolutely agree with you. I have honestly never thought that my personal economy would be summed up so well by something I love to eat so much.
Yeah, hey, I think people need to realize, did they put too much pink Himalayan salt in their soup and therefore it doesn't taste right? And if they did, they need to rebalance their ingredients and make sure their soup is back to where it should be so that it tastes perfect and everybody enjoys it, everybody loves it, and all of the ingredients are properly balanced.
Awesome. Well, Justin, thank you for this. I really appreciate it. And if you are not working with somebody who really communicates like this, like really takes a look at who you are, what you do, why you do it, and makes it very easy to understand, because this is really super complex, that I think the best thing for you to do is go ahead and reach out. Justin, could you remind everybody how they can reach out to you?
I think the best thing, Matt, is to follow us on social, whether it be LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, because that way they can get a feel for who we are and how we operate. And I think that's really, really important for people and consumers in today's world. I also think it's important for people to reach out if they know a person in their life that has said to them at some point that as a result of the work that we do for them, that they should get together with us. So we want to work with people that, are familiar with us by way of people, family and friends, et cetera. So, definitely lean on those people that have been working with us for long periods of time, because that way they can speak firsthand about who we are and how we operate. But I think they could check us out on social. They could check us out on our website, bennettfg.com. They can listen to the podcast here, Your Optimal Personal Economy. It is the best podcast, by the way, on your optimal personal economy. There might be a lot out there in the marketplace, but it is the best, by the way, the best.
And I absolutely agree with you. And if you have not subscribed to the podcast or gone to the website or checked Justin and his team out on social, it's really great because you're really going to get a great chance to know Justin, his team, what he thinks, who he is as a person, because we all know that you like to do business with people that you like, have things in common with, and of course, trust. So subscribe to the podcast. If you haven't, make sure you share this if you haven't done that either. Or if you know somebody who, just like Justin said, should really hear this podcast, it's super easy by clicking the share button below. So for everybody at Bennett Financial Group, this is Matt Halloran, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon. Justin Bennett is a registered representative of Park Avenues Securities, LLC, or PAS. OSJ 1150 Raritan Road, Suite 201, Cranford, New Jersey, 07016. Phone number 908-709-0020. Securities products are offered through PAS, member of FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. New York, New York. PAS is an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Bennett Financial Group LLC is not an affiliate or a subsidiary of PAS or Guardian.